Praise God, lovely people. How are you today? I'm glad to be back here again with our word of the week. I hope all of you have been well. The good Lord has been watching over you just like He has been in my house. Thank you so much for keeping it here, and welcome to Word of the Week. Today I am going to be talking about making a pledge to God. Making a pledge to God. And I'm going to be reading from the book of 1 Samuel, chapter 1. I'm going to read verse 10, 11, and then I'll skip and read verse 20 because it's a long story, okay? So let's read there quickly. Verse 10 and 11 says, "She was deeply distressed and prayed to the Lord and wept bitterly. And she vowed a vow and said, 'O Lord of hosts, if you will indeed look on the affliction of your servant and remember me and not forget your servant, but will give to your servant a son.'" This was a lady called Hannah. "Then I will give him to the Lord all the days of his life, and no razor shall touch his head." That's verse 11. So let's keep and read verse 20. She was crying to God and asking for a son because her co-wife used to have children, but she never used to. Verse 20 says, "In due time, Hannah conceived and bore a son, and she called his name Samuel, for she said, 'I have asked for him from the Lord.'" Simple to understand, right? Hannah was praying to God. For some time, she was really afflicted, and her husband loved her so much, regardless, she could not bear him any children. So one time, she couldn't take it anymore. She said, "Okay, now let me turn to God and cry to God and ask him for a child." But when she went to pray, she didn't just pray ngebi abulijo. This time she decided, let me pledge allegiance, let me pledge something to God so that He can give me a son. So when she was praying, she asked God that if you give me a child, I will give this child to you to worship you for the rest of his days, and no razor shall see his head, like he will never shave his hair. What I'm trying to say today is change the way you pray. Promise God something. I'm not saying it's the only thing that is going to work for you, but at times it will work. If it worked for Hannah, the God who did it then for Hannah, He is more than able to do it for you too. If you have been watching the different videos on our channel, on our show, My Testimony, we hosted a beautiful sister, Ruth, and she said that time when she was looking for a child, she was not even born again yet. But a time came and she was like, what else can I do? Yali anywedde amadagala n'agakowa, yali akoze buli kimu, naye nga the child is not coming. So she turned to God and she said, "Naye Mukama, if you give me a child, ngenda kulekeraawo okunywa omwenge, and I'm going to abandon my sinful ways." God did it for her. I remember when I was still praying for my job, I told God, because I had never given that much of a big offering, and I was yearning to do it, to, okuwaayo ekiweebwayo nga kinene mu church. Nange, I was just kwali kuyayana kwange. I told God, if you give me this job, for the first time, I'm going to get 1 million off my salary, and I'm going to give it in church. I got the job. So change the way you pray. Spice up your prayer life. Pledge something. It touches God's heart. It touches God's heart, and He will give you what you want. However, don't you forget that you have made a vow. So when God gives you this child, when God gives you this which you are looking for, remember to go back and do exactly as you promised God. So, bobo labanga bibadde tebinnakola. We look for God in so many ways. Onoonya Katonda wanoona ng'olaba bikyagaanye. Continue changing the way you look for God. Oba leero obadde okola bw'oti, kati leero kyusaamu. So change the way you have been praying as well. Pledge something to God as well and see if it will work out for you, just like it did for Hannah. So pledge something to God. Try this out. Maybe it's gonna work. God bless you so much. I love you.
Word of the week. Wow.